The lost wallet. One afternoon, Sarah was walking home from the supermarket. She had just bought some groceries and was thinking about what to cook for dinner. The sun was shining, and the birds were singing. It was a beautiful day. As she walked down the street, Sarah reached into her bag to check her phone. Suddenly, she noticed something was missing: her wallet. Her heart began to race. "Oh no," she said to herself. Where could it be? Sarah stopped walking and looked around. She retraced her steps in her mind. I must have left it at the supermarket, she thought. Without wasting any time, she turned around and quickly walked back to the store. When she arrived, she hurried to the checkout counter where she had paid for her groceries. "Excuse me," she said to the cashier. "I think I left my wallet here. Have you seen it?" The cashier smiled and nodded. "Yes. A customer found it on the floor and gave it to us. Here it is." The cashier handed Sarah her wallet. Sarah was so relieved. "Thank you so much," she said with a big smile. "I was really worried." "No problem," the cashier replied. "I'm glad we could help." Sarah walked out of the store, feeling much better. She realized how lucky she was that someone had found her wallet and returned it. As she continued her walk home, she thought, I should be more careful next time. This story can be used for listening and speaking practice by having learners repeat sentences, focus on pronunciation, or answer simple questions like, what did Sarah lose? Where did Sarah go after she noticed her wallet was missing? How did Sarah feel when she got her wallet back? These types of stories are great for improving basic English communication skills. A day at the park. It was a bright and sunny morning when Emma decided to go to the park. She had been working hard all week and needed some fresh air. Today is the perfect day for a walk, she thought. She grabbed her hat, put on her walking shoes, and headed out the door. As Emma walked to the park, she could feel the warm breeze on her face. She smiled and thought about how peaceful the day was. The trees were full of green leaves, and the birds were singing cheerfully. When she arrived at the park, she noticed children playing on the swings, families having picnics, and people jogging along the path. Emma found a bench near a big tree and sat down to enjoy the view. She watched a group of kids playing with a ball. They were laughing and running, full of energy. Suddenly, the ball bounced toward her. "Excuse me, miss. Can you pass us the ball, please?" one of the boys called out. Emma smiled, picked up the ball, and threw it back to them. "Here you go," she said. "Thank you," the boy replied, and he ran off to continue playing with his friends. After sitting for a while, Emma decided to take a walk around the park. As she walked, she saw a food cart selling ice cream. The sight of the cold, delicious treats made her realize she was a bit hungry. Why not, she thought. She approached the cart and asked the vendor, "Hi, can I have one vanilla ice cream, please?" "Sure. Here you go," the vendor replied, handing her the ice cream. "Thank you," Emma said, taking the cone with a smile. As she enjoyed her ice cream, Emma walked by a pond where people were feeding ducks. She stood by the water's edge and watched the ducks swim gracefully. It was peaceful, and the gentle sound of the water made her feel relaxed. While standing there, she noticed an older man sitting on a nearby bench, reading a book. He looked up and smiled at her. "Beautiful day, isn't it?" he said. "Yes, it's perfect," Emma replied. "I love coming to the park on days like this." The man nodded. "I come here often. It's a great place to relax and enjoy nature." They chatted for a while, talking about their favorite places in the city and how important it is to take time to unwind. After their conversation, Emma thanked him for the lovely chat and continued her walk. As the afternoon went by, Emma felt completely refreshed. She had enjoyed her time at the park, the people she met, and the peaceful surroundings. She thought to herself, "I should do this more often." Finally, as the sun began to set, Emma made her way home. She felt happy and calm, knowing that a simple day at the park had been exactly what she needed. Tips for listening and speaking practice. Listening comprehension questions. What did Emma decide to do at the beginning of the story? Who did she meet at the park, and what did they talk about? What treat did Emma buy from the food cart? Conversation practice. Act out the dialogue between Emma and the boy who asked for the ball. Practice ordering ice cream like Emma did with the vendor. The adventure of Jack and Sarah. Jack and Sarah were best friends. They had been neighbors for as long as they could remember. Every summer, they would go on fun adventures together. This summer was no different, but little did they know, it would be their most exciting adventure yet. One bright and sunny day, Jack and Sarah decided to explore the forest near their town. They packed their backpacks with snacks, water, and a map. "Let's find something amazing today," Sarah said with excitement in her voice. Jack nodded, "Maybe we'll find hidden treasure." They set off early in the morning, walking along the familiar path into the forest. The birds were singing, and the breeze was gentle. It was a perfect day for an adventure. After walking for about an hour, they came across a narrow, winding path they had never seen before. "Should we take this path?" Jack asked, looking at Sarah. "Why not?" Sarah replied. "It looks like it could lead somewhere exciting." They followed the path, curious about where it would take them. As they walked deeper into the forest, the trees grew taller, and the air became cooler. Suddenly, they saw something shiny in the distance. Jack and Sarah looked at each other, eyes wide with curiosity. "What do you think it is?" Sarah whispered. "I don't know," Jack said, "but let's check it out." They hurried toward the shiny object, their hearts racing with excitement. When they got closer, they realized it was an old, rusty key. Jack picked it up and held it in his hand. What could this be for? He wondered aloud. There must be a treasure nearby, Sarah exclaimed. We just have to find the lock. Determined to find the treasure, they continued down the path. After walking for a while, they stumbled upon a large, ancient tree with a small wooden door at its base. The door was covered in moss and looked like it hadn't been opened in years. "Do you think the key fits this door?" Sarah asked. "Let's find out," Jack said, pulling the key out of his pocket. He carefully inserted the key into the lock and turned it. To their amazement, the door creaked open, revealing a dark passageway. Jack and Sarah looked at each other, both feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. "Should we go in?" Sarah asked. Jack nodded. We've come this far. Let's see what's inside. They stepped through the door and into the passageway. It was dark and quiet, with only the faint sound of dripping water echoing around them. Jack took out his flashlight and pointed it ahead. As they walked further into the tunnel, they noticed something glimmering on the walls. Look at that, Sarah said, pointing to the walls. The walls were lined with what looked like gold and silver coins, sparkling in the light of Jack's flashlight. We've found the treasure, Jack shouted.